And he actually said, well, it's like, somebody else is sleeping with your wife. And I thought, yeah, that hurts.
And you can watch it.
Ja, de Deutschland, ja. In the semi-finals. The semi-finals.
Semi-final, not
Germany,
again.
Netherlands.
Not like in Hamburg.
Yeah. Like 88, we will win. Yes.
Not again. No,
Okay,
this time the other way around.
No.
Und ihr seid jetzt ehrlich willkommen in Straßburg.
Ah, danke And welcome to RB80 Global Tracks, where two blokes, two Leipzig pundits directly from the heart of Leipzig, just talk about football. Usually about RB Leipzig, but it's the summer break. The season is over. So Richard and Mario are actually at the Euros because Leipzig is a host city. And so far we had the pleasure of hosting 6 nations in 3 matches. And we would just like to share with you our experiences and the people who we met. Maybe we have some interesting audio clips. We will see. So, Richard, how the devil are you tonight?
Hey, Mario. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a while since our last recording. Thank you. I'm fine. Had lots of fun during the so far matches in our beautiful city, in our beautiful stadium. Luckily, I managed to got some tickets for the match
Laddie,
versus Portugal. Yeah, because I was intelligent enough, to have this on my radar during the mid-November, during the first phase of the tickets were sold. And so not all of us
are so intelligent and so alert.
So smart.
Well done to you, mate. Well done to you.
I'm a fucking smartass. And so, I was delighted to be there. But, we will talk about this in a bit more detail in the next few minutes. And the other games, Netherlands versus France and Croatia versus Italy, the mood in the city was just amazing as well.
Exactly. Maybe at the end we share our thoughts about the impressions we have at the moment for how's the Euro doing? Is it good for Leipzig, the city of Leipzig? Is it a good thing for Germany? And you know what? Mr. Richard is so alert. He was so alert and smart November that he actually got tickets for the knockout stages. So next Tuesday, we will host Austria and Ralf Rangnick will come back. And I'm dying to know what Richard thinks about that. But let's go first. And Richard, I'm actually quite interested in the weeks before the tournament because there was a certain build-up in media, but also here in Leipzig. I must ask you, did you notice anything of that? Did you get excited at that time?
Nah, not really. I think it was a very slow start into this tournament. So I paid a little attention during my way through the city center. And it was approximately 1 week before the tournament started, June 14th, when I first noticed some signs that there is in fact a tournament in Euro 2024 and Leipzig is a host city. There were some signs, advertisement signs, big signs that were built that I recognized. Of course, the central station was equipped with some Euro special, signs and gates, and there was an upscaled copy of the trophy and so on. And that was like 7 days before the tournament started when I was like, okay, there's something going on. And of course, the Augustusplatz, our biggest square in the city, was was made fit for the for the Euros. So there will be 2 stages with huge screens, and the program was published. So every day there are different bands and other activities on the big stage. Of course, you can go watch the games there. So as you did, and you will tell us in a few minutes. And but as soon as the tournament started, I was impressed how it was as if someone pushed a button. So okay, now the Euros has started, and now we are all into it. And I'm fearing that this will be the same once this tournament is over.
I must agree. I mean, it was a slow start for me as well. Didn't really notice anything apart from maybe some advertisement on the trams. But surely I didn't go to the city center, to the Augustusplatz, to the public viewing area, fan zone, and didn't see that only until Portugal played Czechia. And so for me, it took a while to get in it as well. Also because, the German team didn't promise that much either. Apart from, okay, they had great games in March, but we all remember in last November, when they played badly. We remember the last few tournaments. And I know it's a tournament on home soil. It's also Leipzig being a host city. It took me a while to get into it. And maybe it's also because there are many other things happening around in personal life as well. But as soon as it started, it was similar. I picked that up with what you just said, picked that up as well. As soon as it started, people were starting to talk about, especially the Dutch coming over to Leipzig. And I think this goes back to memories in 2006 when we had a Oranje invasion, and it was so great. And a lot of people partied, and they kept talking about it for years to come afterwards. And it was similar this time as well. So people were looking forward to it. And the first encounter in the city I had was ahead of the Portugal-Czechia game. Of course, I didn't have any tickets. So with an ex-colleague from Holland, he was there a couple of days early before the Dutch arrived. We were going through the city, and I noticed, people in Portugal shirts, Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, the little kids as well. I thought that was quite funny and nice to watch, but also a lot of people supporting Czechia, I must say. And I had that reminded me of the World Cup ice hockey tournament we went to in May to Ostrava in Prague, because there were also people in ice hockey shirts, and Jaromir Jagr supposedly was playing for Czechia as well. And it looked quite familiar, but it wasn't that football vibes yet. And this friend of mine and me, we just continued to the fan zone, which is at the Augustusplatz, which is the location for our opera and our symphony hall, the biggest square, and also the square where all the demonstrations took place in '89 as well. So quite famous. And there, this setup with the 2 public viewing big screens terminals, the big stage, the DJ, having to go through security to get inside, that reminded me so much of Prague and Ostrava, I must say. And it was a great feeling because we had a great time over there. And it's always nice when people come together and buy not so cheap beer, guys, not so cheap beer. And people just partying, people just have a good time, and they're just, there's no animosity, people just getting along, and everybody was looking forward to the match. Well, it was the afternoon with thunderstorms. What can I say? So 15 minutes prior to kickoff, we were told we had to vacate the place because heavy thunder was coming up. And there was a big thunderstorm following that, so it was good to get inside a building. But that fan zone never reopened, so there was no public viewing. And I felt so sorry for those people who didn't go to the stadium, who wanted to watch the match on those big screens. Where the heck should they go? Back to the hotel? And what I did notice after the thunderstorm has passed, because we went to a rooftop bar close by, you could actually see about 30 to 40 people gathering around big windows at a hotel. It was the Radisson Blue. And they all stood outside watching inside, because inside there was a big screen just showing the match. That looked quite funny. So I guess they found a nice place. But lots of bars, lots of pubs, lots of places actually showed the match. Some people went there. So that was my first encounter and first feeling, first impressions I got about the Euros. It was a good start. More to follow, but What was your impression when you actually went to our little stadium?
Well, I would like to start a little bit earlier how I spent the day because my brother-in-law spent the day with me, and we head into the city like around noon, and we took a look at the weather forecast, and we was like, okay, there's a thunderstorm in the forecast just around that time when the game should start, and so our plan was to purchase some rain capes so that we just had something just in case. And finally, we found some at the Müller Drogerie, unpaid advertisement, for €1.29, and it was totally fine.
That was
So
just for one evening.
no,
129 couldn't have lasted longer than one evening.
well, I still got it, and so we headed into the city and just wanted to get in touch with the mood a little and spend in the different bars. And finally, headed into the Enchilada right next to the Richard Wagner Platz, where the Czech fans gathered. And were about to start their fan march into the stadium. So, I'm now at the Richard Wagner Platz in the heart of the city of Leipzig, surrounded by a lot of Czech fans. It's about 30 minutes that the fan march towards the stadium is going to start. The square is still gathering people coming together here, waiting for the fan march to start. And I'm really looking forward to it. Let's see what's going to happen. And our original plan was just to get in touch with those fans and just do the same march as they did. But there were two thunderstorms that afternoon in the evening, and that was the first one. And we was like, okay, maybe it's better we head into the direction of the stadium and don't wait here until the march starts. And it was the right decision because we walked the Jahnallee down to the stadium, and we made it not even to the console. We made it just barely beyond the Leibnizstraße, where there is I think it's Mr. Wok, an Asian, how do you say imbiss in English? I don't know.
Imbiss, like a snack bar.
Yeah, an Asian snack bar. Thank you. So we just barely made it inside, and then the heavy rain started, and so we took another beer there. Fortunately, they got a refrigerator. And so we headed into the stadium, and it was quite nice. Of course, we took the main entrance at the Glockenturm and headed into the B sector, and it was just great. Heading into your home stand, what you did so often, but this time it's something it's a little bit different. This big screen, this wall when you're entering the stadium, there was not the usual RB Leipzig screen. Instead, it was, of course, welcome to the Euro 2024. And there was the Portuguesian supporters, people from Portugal were all over the place because they headed to the stadium early. I think the Czechs started their fan march a little later, and besides of that, they seemed to be a little more, interested in the bars around the stadium for a little longer. So it was like until 30 minutes before kickoff, it was like, okay, are there any Czech fans here in the stands? The B sector was literally full at that time, and you could, on the other hand side, in the D sector, the RBL letters was still visible. And yeah,
as usual. As usual. Ausverkauft.
But the more we approach to kick off, the Czech fans gather into the D sector.
But excuse me, Richard, before you make us jealous by telling us all about these great seats you had, let's listen to a little clip that you brought along.
Do you hear that? This is the sound of the Euros just inside Leipzig Stadium. So we are like in the upper tier of Sector C. I see a lot of Ronaldos. Lots of Ronaldos, literally. Some haters and nearly no Czech Republic supporters at all. But trust me, they are here in quite good numbers. But those guys from Czechia, they're just chilling around outside the stadium, enjoying some beers. The Portuguese supporters are much more
focus what's coming up in the next 90 minutes. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed it, this game on television, and have fun.
Thank you, Richard. Now, do tell us all about those wonderful seats.
And we had our seats were in the usual away section. So we had places in the fourth row, so just behind the camera,
Nice.
and that was headed onto the penalty box, right before the D sector. And so we had nice seats. And then, as soon as the game started, the sky opened and the heavy rain started again. And that was that time where we were so lucky that we spent the €1.29 earlier that day. So we could just throw those capes over us, and it was so damn necessary. Otherwise, we would have been, drenched bis auf die Knochen. So yeah, and finally, the game. I think it was an okayish game. Of course, the heavy advantages for the Portuguesians. Of course, they are technically way better. Individually better, but the Czech made a great fight. They threw everything they got. They scored a nice goal, and it was just right in front of my eyes. The 1-0, the
Priceless.
Yeah, of course, priceless. From the 18-19 meters away and just into the upper left corner of the goal. No chance for the Portuguesian keeper. And you know how it is to be that close to the pitch, and you can do something what you cannot do when you're at home and watching this on telly, because you have to always when you're at home and watching games on the television, almost always the ball is in the center of the camera, and when you're in the game, you can throw your attention on different spots of the pitch, and then I took my time and watching Ronaldo, of course, a little, and to me it was like, okay, he's physically on the same level that we all knew from him, but obviously the competition he's used to play in the last season in Saudi Arabia, there's of course not even close to top level football, made him a little uncomfortable with this level of playing style that was on that pitch during this match. So a lots of actions was where he simply wasn't involved, and it seems like, okay, he's always capable of doing something special, but he couldn't manage to put himself into those situations that often.
So maybe he's missing a bit of alertness, or he's not used to this kind of pace anymore, this way of playing.
Maybe. So no, he's, as I said, I think physically he has nothing. He is not worse than he was like 3-4 years ago. But it's like the cohesion.
Here we go again
with the other parts of his
You're gonna
team.
pay for this next season.
Yeah.
Every time you mention that word.
€1 for something useful.
Ka-ching!
So yeah, at the end of the day, it was nice, being at the home stadium, watching a game where the whole world is watching, or at least half of Europe is watching, and yeah. And Tim Turker was the announcer as well, and he did it.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, and he did it quite professional. I would like to ask him one day how much how much freedom he is given in those situations.
He sounds like he's toned down a bit, isn't he? He's not.
Yeah.
Go for Portugal! You don't hear that.
No, and it seemed that every word was first scripted earlier.
Oh, okay.
So I would like to ask him how much, how high was the level of improvisation or freedom, or
I picked it up when I kind of picked it up. Sorry for interrupting. When Croatia was playing Italy, and Luka Modric scored, and obviously I could hear him in the background, and he didn't sound as crazy enthusiastic as with RB Leipzig. So he sounded a little bit toned down, but still, it gotten away with him a little bit. So it was a bit probably more enthusiastic than he should have been. But just to imagine that Tim Tölke, who was there from the start, pretty much, wasn't he, announced a goal scorer like Luka Modric as if he was playing for RB Leipzig, was crazy. That was just a crazy thought. And to hear his voice in the background, but not as enthusiastic and crazy as he usually is, because he can't be, he has to behave, is interesting, but also kind of sad, because I just love it the way he announces the starting 11, and he also celebrates RB Leipzig goals. Sorry, back to you.
No, thank you. And I'm pretty sure the Croatians like the way too. I'm sure.
Now, this was a heartbreaking end for Czechia. They lost in the sort of very, very last minute. And in social media, I did say that Ronaldo actually, made his gesture to the opposing goalkeeper, which just shows his character a little bit. If you want to put it in diplomatic ways, he's very competitive. But what was the mood like when you left the stadium? And were there any logistical problems?
Not really. It was. So I, as I said, I was in the away section, so I headed upstairs and then didn't make the way back to Sector B. Instead, I took my path around Sector D, so to leave at the exit Rosengarten, what we usually do. So it was for all of our listeners. So this means that the way that I took was not the main path out of the stadium, so it was not that crowded. And it was interesting that so in the Bundesliga games you can get out of the stadium and literally every way is open to you. You can walk wherever you want to. This time there was a fence, so you was not able to head right to north. So there was a fence, so you just couldn't make your way to the Guyastraße. So you had to enter the Waldstraßenviertel, the area where the
sort of across from the main entrance, or one of the main entrances, when you get to the to the Sector D section, or onto the main area as well. So you had to take a detour.
A little bit, and then I headed just straight to the Waldstraße, and literally the very first drum that came across, we entered, and we even could gather some seats.
What?
Yeah. So what's
unheard of?
It's impossible to get some seats after a Bundesliga game, but this time it was no problem at all. Maybe because I think, like 60-70% of all spectators, I'm sure, headed back to the city center in some way. So maybe let's see what Tuesday will bring up. Maybe I will take a look into the Festwiese and the streets that leads to the city center, just to take a look how traffic is there, or if there are any problems.
But in this case, Leipzig has a big advantage. I mean, the stadium is not too big. In this case, capacity of 42,000. And it's so close to the city center. I would say about 2 kilometers. If you walk, you can walk it in 35 minutes. You can walk there very easily and very quickly, and at a leisurely place as well. And that's a big advantage to maybe other stadiums in Germany who had trouble. Were bigger stadiums, of course, but they had trouble with infrastructure and local transportation. But Leipzig is a different setup, and so far it has worked very well, I think.
I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just perfect for tournaments like that.
Okay. So that was a pretty exciting match, I think, to be there. You said it was sort of mediocre, but I think just the experience, and if for it being different from RB Leipzig, not Champions League, but on the European stage with global interest as well, is a great experience in itself in our own little stadium. So that's great. Now, of course, a couple of days later, we had the Oranje invasion, and they did a lot of stuff on social media. There is this site called Oranje Bus, and there's the Oranje Fußball. And they announced, a couple of days well ahead of their arrival, that they actually would be in Leipzig. You could know if you follow them that they would arrive with a large number of supporters in Oranje, but also with 2 buses, one being quite an open-top older bus, all, of course, in Oranje colors. And that kind of took the shine or took the focus away from the French supporters. But what I noticed in our little goalless area, if I may say that, Richard, I noticed when Holland was playing that we had quite a few Dutch cars and a few French cars. And on the day of the match in the morning, I had to go to the city center. And on that tram line, flippin' heck, there were a whole gang of Dutch supporters entering, all being in a very good mood, but it was like 11 o'clock. And that reminded me of our little trip to the Czech Republic, to Czechia. They didn't have any beer, but I'm sure they were talking about beer because beertjes did come up quite a couple of times. And that was just a nice feeling, nice atmosphere. You know, you could see some different faces from the usual ones, some of the grumpy faces. There were people who were just, being themselves, looking forward to a nice event. So in the afternoon, when I then actually went into the city center because I wanted to join the fan walk, there were actually 2 sections on the tram, Dutch supporters, of course, but also French supporters as well. And I don't know why, but they did buy the Sternburg beer, and I'm not so sure if they survived, but not the high quality, not the sponsor beer, but everybody was in a good mood. But of course, there were chants by the Dutch fans.
Adieu le bleu, le coq va mourir, le coq va mourir.
There was no aggressiveness in the air. It was all very nice banter. There was no, I suspect if we had Serbians over here, it would be a little bit different. But also, the English can be very powerful people, but their reference to World War II and gets a bit boring, and that. But in the city, I must say it was Oranje galore. Dutch supporters everywhere. Party, carnival. That's what I felt when we were there, when I was there. And my first route was going to the Leuchnerplatz, which was the fan area for the Dutch supporters. And of course, they came in different costumes. One looked like an Oranje Gandalf. I don't know why, but it looked funny. And of course, you had your guys in orange suits and orange ties. And I actually did a little interview with them. And Marco from Amsterdam, I do apologize that I called you Mark, but I'm terrible with names.
Okay, guys, I'm surrounded by orange. Oranje is all over in Leipzig. What else would you expect? But I have really fine-looking gentlemen here in orange suits, and they're wearing an orange tie. So, guys!
Hi.
Who are you?
I'm Marco.
Oh, and welcome, Marco. My name is Mario, by the way.
Hi.
Is this your first day in Leipzig, or have you arrived yesterday?
No, today, with the train, yes.
By train?
Yes.
And come on, all of us Germans are dying to know, did you arrive on time?
Yes, thank you, yes, we did.
You did, you're one of the few. Because Deutsche Bahn is not on time.
No,
so
no, not on time.
Not on time.
1 hour too late.
Too late, there
yes.
You go.
But 1 hour, it's okay.
Is this your first time in Leipzig?
In Leipzig, yes, first time.
How do you like Leipzig so far?
So far, so good.
We're a small city compared to, I think, Amsterdam.
It's kind of Berlin, but with less tourism, I think.
Sure.
So, good city. I will come back without the football.
Without the football, that's good to hear. Because all the Leipzigs were really looking forward to it, because in 2006 there was a Dutch invasion already.
Okay.
And people loved it.
Yeah.
So everybody's just coming out to watch you guys. Yes, we noticed a few French supporters, but you are so welcome over here, because we know you do a great party.
Yeah, we do.
I miss your tune, from left to right.
Yeah.
Have you done that yet?
Yeah, on the field. And in a couple of minutes we are going to do the fan walk to the stadium.
Yeah, that's right. We're at the Leuchnerplatz, people, so it's right where they gather. What's your feeling about the tournament so far? How satisfied are you with your first match that you had?
Our first match?
Yeah.
It was good. We won, so that's a good start. Yeah.
That's a good start.
And tonight we win again.
Are you sure you're going to beat France?
Yes. They weren't that good. Mbappé has broke his nose, so...
He's out. Well, is he playing? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't care.
I think you're going to be the louder crowd. And you are now home in our stadium. We're not so big, but 42,000 can still make a lot of noise,
Yeah.
and I think you're going to be superior.
I think we're gonna beat the French with the sound, yes.
Whoa.
For sure.
There's one more question we got to ask you from a Leipzig side. You know we have this Dutch player, well, we had him last season, Xavi Simons.
Yes.
From your experience, what are the odds that he's going to stay another year at Leipzig?
The odds he's gonna stay in Leipzig. If he's smart, he does.
Okay, but why do you say that you think that if he's smart, he would stay in Leipzig?
Because the Bundesliga is a serious competition.
Okay.
So it's one of the biggest competition in Europe, and it fits him very good.
But he could move to a different club like Bayern München.
No.
That's what we say, no. Anyways, it's really a pleasure talking to you, and you guys have the best outfit I've seen so far. Okay, there's a Gandalf-looking guy down there somewhere. But it was lovely to meet you. Enjoy the
Same.
match. Have
Thank
a
you.
great walk to the stadium.
Of course.
And
Will do.
you need a chant from you. So what do you usually yell?
Hup Holland, hup.
Hup Holland, hup.
Hup Holland,
Oder
hup.
Schade Deutschland, alles ist vorbei. It's
Schade
another-
Deutschland, yeah. In the semi-finals. The semi-finals.
Semi-final. Well, not
Germany,
again.
Netherlands.
Not like in Hamburg.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Like 88, we
No,
will win. Yes.
not again. No.
Okay,
Well, this time the other way around.
No.
Thanks, Mark. You take care. Thanks a lot.
So, Marco referred to a piece of history. Semifinals 1988. Holland beating Germany in the Hamburger Volksparkstadion. And then, of course, moving on to win that tournament with that wonderful strike of Van Basten and Holland winning their only European championship. By the way, they never won the World Cup. Just kind of throwing that in there. But very delightful people. At that time, I got a message from you as well, Richard, because I think you actually took the whole family out to go to Leipzig.
Almost, yeah. My oldest son didn't want to join us. I don't know why. So it was only me, my wife, and my daughter. And yeah, we headed to the Leuchtenplatz as well because we had to buy some summer shoes. And then, of course, we took a look. Oh, this is 1-0. So as we are recording. As we- and
I'm
it's
trying to set up my phone.
and it's 1-0 Georgia. My gosh. 100 seconds into the game and it's 1-0 Georgia. So I talked to I talked to my brother-in-law just yesterday, as it was clear that Austria will come to town next Tuesday, and he was like, "Oh, it's very likely Turkey." He said, and I was like, "I don't know anything now. I didn't see Austria coming, and I don't want to talk about anything here. Maybe in the end it will be Georgia." As it stands now, okay, like 88 minutes more to come. Yeah, we will see
What a strike.
Georgia heading to
Beautiful.
Leipzig. So yeah, back to the Netherlands game. And yeah, I took a shot on the Leuchtenplatz as well, and I think I was there just like 10-15 minutes before the fan walk started, and it was so crowded. And I was remembered as well to add 2006 vibes. But this time I was prepared. Back in those days, 2006, I wasn't prepared. It was the very first of any of this of a sort of event.
Did you wear a wig and you looked like Ruud Gullit?
No,
Was that you?
no,
Okay.
it wasn't me. I was I had my Elfsborg Boros jersey on. I don't know why it was just like in the top of my cupboard. So yeah, I had some strange views. I had some strange glimpses from people walking by, and I was there for a pastor.
Yeah, of course.
So
I understand.
and it was back in those days, 2006. I wasn't prepared for what to come, and I was amazing. And I was like, this is not real. How good people, how good in the mood could be. And I was like, back in those days, man, they cannot have tickets for the game all, because it was 20,000-30,000 2006, and I think this time it was 20, maybe 25,000 Dutch people in this city as well. And as the game started, I think the public viewing area in the Augustusplatz was crowded with people from the Netherlands, and it was just amazing. I love it, and I would like to welcoming the Dutch once more on July 2nd. Unfortunately, they didn't make it yesterday.
That's true. They're going down a different route. Maybe they face England. We don't know yet. But for me, it was the first time to meet the Dutch in Leipzig like this. But I was equally impressed. And I did notice there were quite a few people standing alongside the fan walk, like locals, who were just watching them. And I think a lot of them did remember the time. So they started their fan walk off the Leuchnerplatz, then took the route around the ring, so to speak, also past the Neue Rathaus, the new town hall, so to speak. And I just joined them. I just walked along and just took in the atmosphere. And of course, what we were all waiting for was that melody, that von links nach rechts, that we can't get off our head anymore. And to any German TV station, please do not replicate that. You know, this song is not made for us Germans. Hallo RTL, das war scheiße. Anyways, so here's a little clip because I caught the end of it. And of course, on social media later on, you could see videos where you can see tens of thousands of people moving from the left to the right. So I was kind of walking amongst all the Dutch supporters, and there were quite a few Germans in there because quite a few spoke German, just wearing orange shirt. And one guy was wearing a shirt that RB Leipzig sold. It's an orange shirt with the player Xavi Simons shown and doing his signature move when he has scored a goal. He called in, so to speak. And he told me, because I said, hey, I like your shirt. And he told me in German, yeah, this is RB Leipzig. I said, I know. Anyway, so I really enjoyed the whole atmosphere. It was carnival. A lot of the songs are pretty much the same as we have, to be honest. You know, Viva Hollandia sounds like Viva Colonia. So I kind of knew the lyrics just in German, but instead of Cologne, you're actually chanting Hollandia. And the whole atmosphere was really relaxed, and you wouldn't have known that you're going to a football game. It could have been anything else. And I think we all really enjoyed it. There was quite a bit of interaction with local people on balconies doing the wave. Some people actually handed down beer cheers for those Holland supporters. So everything was great. A couple of flares with smoke went up as well. And what I did notice from the behind the first bus, there were actually little statues that they were carrying of past great players like Ruud Gullit, for example. And that I thought that was just a wonderful idea. People not taking themselves too seriously. So we all were singing and chanting on our way towards the stadium. And then I was in front of our stadium with the whole sea of Oranje supporters. So the Festwiese, the Leipzig, the Sector D, was in the hands of Holland. And it was a beautiful sight, of course, but I felt really down as I stood in front of that stadium. And it's my stadium because I'm there quite often during the season, but I'm not allowed to get in because I haven't got any tickets. So that is really not a great feeling. But as I was walking away from the Festwiese, I actually bumped into two French supporters. And then one of them caught my eye because he was wearing a mask with looking like Mbappé. And Mbappé had recently broken his nose, as you all know. And on this mask, there was another mask across his face, his nose, covering his nose in the French colors. Something he was not allowed to wear in these games. It would have to be a black one. We saw it yesterday. But I liked it so much that I had to talk to these people. And it turned out to be that these two were Sebastian and Lionel from Strasbourg. And we had a very nice conversation.
Guys, I'm in front of the stadium of RB Leipzig and I can't get in. And this really hurts. But I found two people who got tickets. They can get in and they're not orange They are blue. They are French. So may I ask what your name is?
Sebastian.
And I heard you from Strasbourg. You as well?
Yeah, my name is Lionel and we are coming from Strasbourg. So being here, knowing Mohamed Simakan, being our guy, playing it in the stadium, this is strange too from us. We are glad to be here. But we are glad to be here because we're supporting the French people, and I think we just missed the wrong entry because we had the only blue in front of thousands of orange guys.
I know.
This is weird.
Well, you came in the Festvisa, and that seems to be the end of the orange guys. But I'll walk with you to the other side, to where I usually am, and this seems to be your end.
We'll take care of your seats and
take care of my
seat.
seat. I know you're going to behave. I'm also surprised that such a top game is actually hosted in Leipzig. It's the smallest stadium.
It's a small stadium.
Yeah.
That's what we figured out today. It's the smallest one, Sebastian, we said today.
Of the Euro,
Of the Euro,
yes,
yeah.
it's the smallest one.
But
yes,
we also
in
said,
capacity.
what was strange to us, we saw a lot of stadium for sides which are in second divisions.
Yeah.
This is not something usual in France. We would build a big stadium for the sides which are in the first league.
Yeah.
And I think this is something which is really remarkable.
Gelsenkirchen, Düsseldorf,
Yeah.
Berlin,
But-
teams in the second league.
Exactly, but they used to be in the first league.
Yes,
so
of
when
course.
they,
Yeah,
like as Schalke or Düsseldorf, they tried to get up and they couldn't.
We would have the Saint-Etienne
Yeah.
in France, the Bordeaux,
yeah.
big sides also in the second league. But yeah, it was a surprise to see so many stadiums in the second league. That's fantastic.
Interesting observation. I never realized that, but you're right. Usually we have the capacity of 47,000, but because they took the seats out,
Oh yes.
so it's
only
42,000. But even 47 is not the biggest seat.
But I hope that we will not need the seats tonight because we're gonna be
What
standing
makes
up.
you so confident? Let me explain. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Sebastian? No, Sebastian.
Yeah.
He's wearing a mask, and it's covered by the supposedly mask that Mbappé is going to wear tonight. He's not because it's French colors. But what makes you so confident? You were confident.
No, I'm not.
No, we are not
here to
confident.
enjoy
No,
this game
because-
with a very good crowd, because we enjoy to be with the Dutch guys. This
is what I like.
they are
And the
so-
German people.
and in Germany.
Yeah, we blend in, kind of.
Yeah. This is unique, This is something. I mean, we looked at which game would we like to do. Netherlands against France was on the list, and we are so happy to be here in the
Great to
stadium
have you.
when Simakan is playing. For us, it's a special touch. No, it's brilliant. Thank you.
And we discover our city. Yeah.
And the city is nice, yeah. It's what you've seen so
Yeah.
far.
Well,
Maybe-
it is. I'm going to take it as a compliment. It is a nice
This
city.
big green area,
Yeah.
this big river. I mean, it's almost a primary forest, which is something really strange. Being just close to the big stadium, this forest just here. That's so far we like it. I think
We like the
Let's
atmosphere.
see what's happening in a couple of minutes.
But thanks very much because Strasbourg is a beautiful city. We
enjoy it.
really enjoy traveling to France, and Strasbourg, of course, it's close to our hearts as well.
Yep.
So I'm really pleased to hear that.
Ihr seid jetzt ehrlich willkommen in Straßburg.
Ah, that's great! So guys, as you're going to be sitting in my end, where I usually am, take care of my seats, like I said.
Yes,
And,
we'll do.
But do you think Mbappé is going to feature tonight in the starting 11, or?
Not in the starting 11.
Okay.
And I think if we can manage to to beat the Netherlands without him, he will stay on the bench.
Okay. I spoke.
But it will be hard.
I spoke to somebody else, another French supporter, before that, and he said it's not necessary to bring him on from the start. Bring him on in the second half.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yes, we have other weapons to beat the Netherlands.
Strong talk. I love it.
French coach again.
So, do you think you're going to go all the way?
To be honest with you, I don't know because we have a strong side, but I think now we also expected,
Yeah.
and people know how we are playing.
Yeah, you're a
We
beautiful
know
team.
also that we are relying a lot on Mbappe's performance.
But you shouldn't. You have so much other talent.
That's the point. But it's a magnet to a lot of
True.
situations. But I think we are stronger when we are not only relying on him, and we think also that yes, as Sebastian said, we have a few weapons. But Mbappé also said, Europe Championship is probably one of the toughest championship in the world. So yeah,
True.
nothing is done.
So, last question. What do you think about the performance of the German team so far?
Look, you started very well the championship, and if we are totally honest, no one was expecting you at this level a year ago.
Neither did we.
Yeah,
Not at all. We're
we
still
are glad.
wondering.
It's always something unique when you are in a championship that the country is hosting, having the surprise coming from the home country. That would be a very nice story,
And you have more power when you're in your country.
Yeah.
Yes, when
You
you're
have
hosting
the strengths. You have the.
Yes.
No, I think that could be a very nice story, And we are, of course, French supporters, but we are at the end supporter for the big party, which is the Euro Championship. So, que le meilleur gagne.
I think this tournament has a really good vibe to it, a really good feel to it. There's not many violence. There are a lot of fan groups who just party, like you guys, the Dutch, the Scots.
Yeah.
Yes.
The English are their usual selves, okay, but they can party as well. But so far it's been amazing, and we are surprised as well. And we're really happy to have you here, guys. Hope you enjoy the game. All the best, bon chance.
Yeah, merci.
And who knows, we might meet again in this tournament. I don't know.
Que le meilleur gagne.
Thank you very much.
So one of the linking parts is Mosi Macron, who they really still kind of follow. They can't understand that he's not playing in the national team. And the other part we talked about after I talked to them online is the fact that their club, Racing Strasbourg, was actually bought by Blueco, or had an investor, Blueco. And they kind of think, they kind of fear, it's okay as long as Blueco like to support Racing Strasbourg, but they do worry what happens if the funds are not there anymore because the investor drops them. And they are aware of the fact that RB Leipzig is a different club owner here in Leipzig and in Germany as well. And they did pick up that a lot of people dislike, i.e. hate them as well. So it was an interesting conversation around that afterwards. But we took a leisurely walk to the French end, which is the Sector D, what you just referred to, where you can see the RBL, where nobody's sitting there. And it was a very pleasant conversation. The whole atmosphere was so relaxed between Dutch and French supporters. Yes, the Dutch mocked the French and vice versa, but it was never aggressive. There was always a big laugh. And I think this is what football should be. Big party, different nations meeting up, competing. But hey, it's football. It's nothing like anything else, not a war. It's just people getting together. And if you're lucky, you can do this in a beautiful town like Leipzig with local people who really enjoy that as well. And all the other local grumpy people. In those days, we don't see them. I really like that. So I must say, this was the match, although I wasn't there, and the surroundings I enjoyed the most so far over here. But there's one more thought about this one, because going back to the feeling that I had when I was in front of a stadium I couldn't get in, I mentioned that to Sebastian. And he actually said, well, it's like, somebody else is sleeping with your wife. And I thought, yeah, that hurts.
And you can watch it.
But he promised us to treat our wife really well. So that's nice. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you.
What a sick reference. Oh my gosh.
Well, moving on. The third match we had here in Leipzig was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
It was Monday, 2 days ago.
Croatia playing Italy. And on paper, this is a really interesting encounter, isn't it? And I went to the city just to see what is happening. And I immediately saw that there are a lot of Croatians. I mean, the Croatians took over Leipzig as well, but not in a way as the Dutch people, because the Dutch were more organized and came with 2 buses. And it's like a whole party community arrived at Leipzig with the Dutch. And then they moved on to Berlin. Over here, it was just a lot of Croatian supporters, and it was really funny because a lot of them were wearing the number 4 shirt, Guardiol, which, of course, is somebody who is still close to our heart as well. The atmosphere was really pleasant and peaceful as well. A lot of parents with their kids as well, so I thought this was really great. Off and on, you would notice that Croatian supporters actually speak German. There are a lot of people of Croatian descent or even Croatian citizens working and living in Germany, so you wouldn't be surprised about that. But off and on, you would actually see Italians as well. And 2 Italians actually had a very important message on their banner and said, "Cappuccino is only for breakfast." So this is this is because by law it's forbidden in Italy to have cappuccino after 12 o'clock, I was told. And I had to laugh, so this was good as well. And we also took some pictures with some Italian supporters, but they were definitely German. I mean, I think they were from NRW, the west of Germany. Still, very good atmosphere as well, but it didn't reach this type of level of entertainment for us, like with the Dutch. But I did join Croatian supporters from the market, from the central place, the market square, down to on a little fan walk to, but they had a big fan walk as well to the stadium. And the chants were probably a little bit different. They were coming from a nation which is very proud of themselves, with a rich history as well. And they're really serious about supporting them in that sport, in that football contest. So it was not like a party atmosphere like with the Dutch, but it was more serious business. But it was still good. And as we were walking to the stadium, I could literally only see Croatians. Often on there were some Italians as well, but they were clearly in the minority. More police this time. There was a lot more police directing traffic as well. And as we heard after the match, there were more incidents than in the 2 other games. And of course, Croatia is also known that they have a very violent ultra scene. So some of them actually make it to Leipzig. But all in all, it was very peaceful. And I did walk to the stadium again, got that feeling that I can't get in. Not very nice. This time, the Festwies was covered with Croatian fans. And as I was walking to the other side, to our side, Sector D, I was expecting more Italian people. And there were actually Italian supporters also starting to chant, Italia, Italia, but immediately covered by Croatian chants and outnumbered again. So in the stadium, I think you could see it as well. The vast majority of supporters were for Croatia. In the end, they weren't the loudest. I know the match was heartbreaking for Croatia as well. But it was good to see both. It was good to see that it was peaceful. It was a summer afternoon and very enjoyable as well. And you could get used to it. It's really a shame that this is not going to after Tuesday next week. This is not going to happen again because it's so good for Leipzig. So I'm not sure how you followed that match on Monday. You said Croatia versus Italy.
Yeah, not much, unfortunately. So I spent the day in the office and then I headed home.
That's nice.
I headed home. It was like, I don't know, 3 o'clock or something. And when I on my way from the office to our apartment, I have to cross the city center from south to north with my bike, and so I catch the mood a little bit, and I can agree with what you said. So there was the Croatian supporters singing and chanting really loud, but it was like more a little bit Balkan style, people was taller and wider than the Dutch people, and their voices were, yeah, a little bit more aggressive. Not that I've been aggressive, I agree with that, not at all. But it's if you have so what do you have experienced just a few days earlier when the Dutch people was in town? It was just different. So yeah, and then I had to pick up my daughter from my sister. She spent the night there, and so I had to took a ride through the city, and it was like Croatian supporters anywhere. It was like outnumbered the Italians 5-1 or something like that. And literally, so my sister is living in the city, in the western part of our beautiful city, where the tramway comes to an end. So there's park and rides spots where you can just park your car and then switch to the tram and head to the stadium. And even there was
Really?
supporters, from Croatia. Those parking spaces are usually not that much used in the Bundesliga games, and I did not expect to be used at all during the Euros. But even there was Croatian supporters, and it was quite amazing.
Well,
Yeah. That was cool, but I didn't make it to the city center again. I didn't make it to the stadium again. I just watched this game at home and yeah, enjoyed that such an important match with such great teams. You know,
Mm,
reigning European champion and the runner up from the 2018 World Cup and the third place from the 2022 World Cup is playing in your home stadium. That's quite cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
That I agree. And what I noticed during the Holland France match, do you know, when we step out of our terrace, I could actually hear the spectators. And this time, I thought I could hear something from the Croatian Italian game. I couldn't hear anything. So the wind was blowing the other direction. But if now that you mention it, we had two top quality matches over here in Leipzig, which is really maybe a compliment for Leipzig as well. And also the capability of organizing and holding those matches in tournaments like that. So, Richard, I'd just like to ask you as we come towards maybe the end of our little session, what is your general impression about the tournament? Do you think it is something positive for the city of Leipzig and maybe even something positive for Germany as a country, especially bearing in mind we are living in not so easy times at the moment when it comes to people expressing their opinion and political views.
Yeah, I have a little bit. I have mixed feelings about that. On the one hand side, I think it's a great tournament. The mood in the cities, in the host cities, are generally very good. People are gathering together and just partying together, as you said it, and we experience by ourselves. And then the tournament started with a big bang with a 5-1 win. So that thing helped a lot, and great games followed in the first two match days of the group stage. Most recently, I think it was a little bit decreasing. Maybe there was because there was more on the line for the teams to qualify to the knockout stage. So we saw 2-0 all draws yesterday, and it was awful to watch the
Yeah.
England squad. Of course, my
Painful.
gosh, yeah, it was, and so yeah, the French wasn't as good either versus Poland. He already eliminated from the tournament prior to this game, and you know, when it comes to the part, how is this good for Germany? You know, to me it seems like, okay, this is our last party before some tough times are going
You
to
could be
come,
right. Yeah.
and that makes me a little bit sad. I hope I'm wrong, but referring to the latest polls and for the upcoming elections in September for the states Saxony, Thuringia, and Brandenburg, and this party called AfD, which is like Germans first and nothing else. Um, is most likely to be the most powerful party out of those elections. That makes me a little bit scared, and so I hope that this won't be the outcome. So, but yeah, with that view into the future, I think it feels like, okay, so maybe we have to enjoy this even more.
Mm.
So because tough times to come, and on the other hand side, now things we were able to hide from the world, some like
Cash
especially
only bars.
like an infrastructure. Excuse me.
Like cash only bars.
Yeah, cash only bars. You have to pay cash only and
Yeah.
not under 10 euros, and lack of infrastructure. Now comes to light, and I think this is very embarrassing. And I hope that the political administration took learnings from that and focusing more on developing public infrastructure in the upcoming years.
But maybe that makes us a bit more human, because when I lived in the UK, Germany was renowned for a top organization. I thought I could believe that as well. Great infrastructure. And also, trains in the UK are diabolical at times as well. But maybe as the English, especially when the English travel to Gelsenkirchen and find out it looks like, a place like Bracknell, for example, in the UK, not that wonderful, and they get stuck on trains, they realize Germany is not that much up to scratch either. And, maybe it makes us a bit more human. We're humans after all. But it is, I find it is embarrassing that, especially in cities like Gelsenkirchen, Düsseldorf, they had so many problems. I couldn't believe it. So I'm glad organization was great in Leipzig, but also, the pitch in Frankfurt. Why is that pitch in Frankfurt in such a bad condition? Why do people keep sliding there all the way in that beautiful stadium? This is crazy. On the other hand, I still believe we've been great hosts. Germany has been a great host. The Scottish really enjoyed their time. There has been little violence, but I'm sorry, those groups from Serbia, tend to be a little bit more aggressive, also racist as well in parts. That is not very nice. We had some incidents with Croatia, but mostly they've been peaceful as well. And of course, the English are themselves. Most of the times they party, they know how to party, but there's always this band against other, punching down instead of punching up. So I need to say right here. But we've seen beautiful matches, and you're right. We should just enjoy it as long as we can. I take a lot of confidence out of the organization in Leipzig, and also the fact that we had some really top-notch matches here in Leipzig speaks volumes. A lot of confidence in the city and the infrastructure as well. And I don't think it would really be possible with all these years of RB Leipzig hosting international matches as well. So I think there's a lot of routine and experience here in Leipzig, which they draw on. So that is something we can be proud of. But similarly, like you, I do fear that in September we're in for a shock. But that's not only Germany. In a couple of weeks' time, it might be France as well. But we'll get on. Football will always be there. We will still follow it. But all in all, I'm just happy with the whole tournament so far. And even if Germany drops out, preferably not versus England, and even if Germany drops out, it's still going to be a cracking tournament. Whoever wins it has actually earned the right to win it, even if it is Turkey.
Yeah, maybe.
Then we have a pitch invasion.
So, maybe I would like to add some words to Leipzig as a host city in our stadium. And I think, the city did it quite well, and I think the organization in the city, how this fan zone is made, and the public transportation should work, and I'm really proud of that. And I think the UEFA is, now sure that they make the right decision to award the UEFA Conference League final 2026 into Leipzig.
Oh, forget about that.
Yeah. So now we have proven we can handle those kind of big games, and there's one big game to come in 2 years' time, and I'm looking forward to that. This is gonna be a great match either. And I don't care if it is Sheriff Tiraspol versus Olympia Ljubljana, or West Ham versus
Doesn't matter.
Roma. It doesn't matter. I'm
It
really
doesn't
looking
matter.
forward to
It's
it, and I'm definitely trying to get for some tickets there.
Yeah. This time I'd be alert as well. So, thank you very much so far, Richard. Just one more thing. Let's look ahead to next Tuesday, knockout stages, the final match that we're going to host here in Leipzig. And it turns out to be that Maestro Ralf Rangnick is coming back to Leipzig after winning the Group of Death. I can't believe it. Finishing in first place and coming here on Tuesday. And you actually have tickets.
Yeah.
How the hell do you feel? I can see you grin. Okay, yeah. Stop it.
It was strange because as soon as I got those tickets, and then there was the draw for the groups, and I looked at what games are going to be in Leipzig, and I was like, okay, we're going to see either France or Netherlands, and now it's Austria, and I was like, okay, it's Austria. I mean, it was like, that was not what I expected, but it's cool anyway. And yes, it's gonna be like an how do you say Klassentreffen in English? It's an
Bloody hell! How do you come up with that reunion? Some sort of reunion.
Feels like some sort of reunion.
School reunion, maybe something like that.
It's Rangnick, of course, with the RB history. It's Leimer, of course. It is the Sabitzer. Who played for us for a long time. Then there's our actual players, Baumgartner, Seiwald. Maybe I forgot some more.
Schlager, who's injured. Oh.
Yeah, Alaba on the bench.
Leimer, did you mention Leimer?
From Bremen. I think I mentioned Leimer already.
Okay.
And it feels so familiar. And this is what I'm looking forward most. There are
Brilliant.
so many familiar faces, and I will do my very best to make a very warm welcome to Ralf Rangnick as soon as he entering the stadium.
Beautiful. Be sure you kind of share your experience, and maybe we'll do another episode, only if you allow us to. That'll be wonderful. But I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. Do enjoy, and let us know how you get on.
I think I'm gonna wear my red cup winner's shirt.
Cup winner's shirt. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Richard, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. It's our first, RBLE Global Tracks at the Euros 2024. And this has been a special edition, a bonus track of our little podcast during the summer break. And as we said, there might be another one you hear from us again. You guys, take care. Follow the tournament. Cheer on your team, which nation it is. Richard, have a great summer. Talk to you soon.
You too.
Everybody else, this has been RBLE Global Tracks. Good night.